But, going back to the bootstrapping thing, everybody loves a good American entrepreneurial story, and your story when we sat down and talked reminded me of Steve Jobs and Apple, and like, the whole concept of building it out of your garage, which you're literally doing, it's really cool. So Nick, can you just talk about how, let's go back and talk about how the concept came to be and like how you've bootstrapped your way to this point.
Mm-hmm. I will clarify. I didn't build it in my garage. I built it in a garage because I didn't own a house because I didn't have that much money. It was I got the idea and started kind of the business when I was 25, and it was just kind of this very big inflection point in my life. And as Matt alluded to, like I had the only real possession of any value I had a little car. It was a little silver Porsche Boxster that I pulled out of a barn in Van Cleve, Mississippi for $5,000, and I'd kind of fixed it up. Oh no, definitely not. And I'm addicted to late '90s and early 2000s German cars, and fixing them up on Craigslist. And I actually flipped a couple cars as I was doing. But anyways, it was like, you don't know what to do. You should get a patent. And it was like, I got this car. It's worth about $10,000. That's about how much the patent attorney's asking for. It's like, let's go. And I'll tell you, especially when you're that young and dumb, you think it's going to be easy street. Like, hey, I got this good idea. Somebody's going to come along, be like, thank you. Here's a big check. See you on the beach. That's not what happened. But I also kind of grew up with it, and it was a lot of long nights. I can remember very specifically where I was in life when Matt called. I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma at artillery school for the Army, and I'd been there for 6 months. I was there for 6 or 7 months, and was not really a high point in, I guess, my life. Like, living out a hotel room, shooting guns, shooting big cannons is fun for a bit, but then your ears hurt.
Like, huh?
But
lot in Oklahoma's.
Oh. It's also I'm from Austin. It's like a 5 or 6 hour drive, so I was just like, I don't want to stay in Lawton this weekend. I was driving a lot back home. I had this idea, and there was obviously some value in it, but it takes a lot to get to. The idea is the easy part. Building a proof of concept isn't that hard. Getting to something that you can sell in a business and developing all that stuff is kind of where the real exercise is. There's this kind of, I wish I could say like I never looked back, was never had any doubts. But it was very comforting when somebody like Matt called, and he didn't know me from Adam. He just read a very nice piece that Alon had done in Vertical after I basically just told her I got an idea. Here's some CAD drawings of it. I worked on a proof of concept, but I did not want a picture of that printed in a magazine. It was not very pretty, but to hear somebody, and I think how it went, Matt, was like, you're like, you gave me a little bit of your background, and you were like, I think we need this, or like, I think this could be great. And every time, which there was a couple, every year from about 2015 to 2020-ish, there was something that happened that was just like, man, it's hard to kind of keep putting yourself out there and just getting punched in the face. But then it would come out, and I'd go back to, like that phone call with Matt and be like, I gotta just kind of keep, I think that the concept is the same, and went through a bunch of different iterations. I started with kind of like a Foggle method. My thought being that the barriers to entry in like a Cessna are much lower than in a military helicopter or a big helicopter. And then around 2018, I kind of 2017, 2018, I made the decision to focus a little bit more on the helicopter side. Then in 2020, we finally got to bring the systems to market, and now it's actually just one system now. So last fall we kind of combined the product lines. The helicopter version is much better designed. It's much more resilient. It's customers are happier. I didn't keep every single iteration, but it was always the what version are we on. And I wish I would have done a little bit better keeping track of them. Yeah, I went through a bunch of different ones, and it sucked for a long time. Like the actual device, like it would work, but the first power control units were huge, like the size of a loaf of bread almost, built with Radio Shack components. And I guess I'm dating myself because Radio Shacks are no more. But I used to go to Radio Shack, and I got a C in electricity and magnetism in college, like a C minus. I was like, I'm going to be a pilot. Oh, why do I need this? So, I shocked myself a lot, and I spent a lot of time
that explains a lot.
in my I remember the start, my parents' house, garage, and then I actually kind of moved in with one of my buddies back in Austin, back when I was just bumming around working on ICARUS. This is kind of funny. I would listen to I remember 2015, like summer of 15, listen to Eminem's "Lose Yourself" every day when I was driving in, and I had all my stuff at my buddy Mitchell's house.
That's cool.
And would just Mitchell's mom's house, actually. Shout out. That's actually the name of our fantasy football league. And I had no idea what I was doing, and I was just kind of trying everything and just keeping working on it. And you get a little bit farther down the road.
Yeah, I will say I'm happy that it was Eminem. I thought you were going to say the Spice Girls or something.
Yeah.
But man, that's a cool story. Not many people have the intestinal fortitude to stick with an idea as long as you did, to see it come to fruition and get to where you're at. Can you talk about where you are currently and how the program is being adopted? Maybe that's a good question for Matt, but we'll start with you, Nick, on how it's being adopted throughout different programs in the world, really.
Yeah, we're constantly trying to get them out there. I feel like word is kind of starting to spread. I feel a little bit kind of getting over the hump. Not trying to lower the collective, but we're through ETL. I just sent a couple to the German police. It's just corresponding with people in New Zealand, and it's not a program that's unique to American helicopter pilots. Right now, the name of the game is a lot of what I focus on is I still put everyone together, and I don't build all the components. I have vendors and stuff like that, but keeping the production line rolling and making sure people get them in a timely manner is probably my number one focus. One of the big goals for this summer is to take that VFR into IMC training that we've had some success in the helicopter industry and bring it to GA, to guys and gals that are not professional pilots, that own airplanes and use them for kind of private stuff. Because I always say the problem is much more acute in helicopters, but we kill just as many people die in airplane accidents when they fly into clouds unexpectedly, and it's a problem we're trying to work on over there. So that's our big push for this year, and this summer we're taking it to Oshkosh. We'll be in the Pilot Proficiency Center, and just kind of we have a little bit. Every day you get more of a leg to stand on. It took people that were willing to bet on an idea and be on the leading edge, like Matt, like Metro Aviation, and there's quite a few other like police departments and stuff like that, where they were like, I believe in this idea,